Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom. It is day 3 of the Jaded Blossom May release, and I have a quick card and treat to share with you today. So I'm just making a quick card base here. This is an A2 size card base, 5.5 by 4.25 inches, and it's scored at the top to give a vertical A2 size card. So, 4.25 by 11 inches scored in half. There's that sweet little bee image that I'll be using today. So here I'm just using a Teflon bone folder to do that. So here are all the products I'll be using today. The brand new birthday bug tags, which is adorable. The honeycomb card mat dies, the octagon dies, balloon dies, bow dies, the bread tag die, and also the gable box dies for the treat. Anyways, so here I am. I've got my card base there at a paper tray ink. I'm using Doodlebug's Spring Thing 6-inch pad along with their Sunshine cardstock and their Pistachio Gingham Linen 12-inch cardstock. So here's my card base. I'll be adding my honeycomb die cut. Isn't that gorgeous? I'll be adding that with Craft Tacky glue from Simon Says, just around the edges. I'll be sticking down things in the middle, so it's not important to glue it down super firmly because the items in the middle will hold it down. So here I am, I'm just using that, but I like to use the glue because it gives you some wiggle room to line stuff up. So there I am. I'm just going to fix my glue boo-boos on the edges there. And now I'm adding my octagon die that I cut out with the Doodlebug cardstock. I'm adding it with ATG tape, and I'll have that off to the side. I also have my bread tag die that was cut out of honeycomb paper from the same pad, and I'm adding my little stamped tag front to the bread tag die. I stamped that using ink on 3s, blackout ink, as that kind of is my go-to ink for when I'm Copic coloring, because I colored the little stars with YGO3, and I also colored the B with Y11, Y15, Y17, C5, C7, and C10. Those will all be listed on my blog later. I also added some EK Success chalk and some white Jelly Roll pen for little freckles on its face. So how cute. And I also used the white Sakura Jelly Roll pen for some highlights on the bee itself. So here I am. I'm going to add some 3M foam tape to the back of the bread tag die, and I like to use that when I'm covering a large surface because you can tear it, and it's awesome. Otherwise, I use my Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. So I'm just applying that, and I'll be applying that also kind of on a wonky angle. How cute is that? And now here I glue my card base to my paper because, I'm a bit of a spazzy card maker. I'm not going to lie. So here's my little bee. I'm going to be adding adding it to my card with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals just to give it some more dimension. A card always looks better, in my opinion, when it has lots of dimension. So here I am. I'm adding my bee with my EK Success tweezers, reverse tweezers, and how cute is that? Just adorable. Now I'm going to be adding some leftover pieces actually. Oh, first I'm going to add my fussy cut letters. I stamped the buzz on that same honeycomb card pattern paper from Doodlebug. Now I fussy cut it, and then I also use Memento Tuxedo Black ink to run around the edges and color the white edges of the paper. It just makes it look like you've had a perfect cut even when you haven't, and trust me, I never have a perfect cut because I'm a terrible fussy cutter. So now I'm going to apply those to my background. It's always nice to apply your fussy cut image to a stamped image underneath because that black line also kind of masks the fact that you might have had some boo-boos, so it just gives you a nice look in the end. And look how sweet that is. I hate fussy cutting, but I love how it looks when it's done. So now Buzz looks adorable. How sweet is that? Now I'm also going to be taking my leftover pieces from that honeycomb die, and I'll be applying that to my card base kind of as an extra embellishment, really. And I'll be adding 5 of them. That's another little trick. Instead of cutting out the center of the bee, I used my Sakura white Jelly Roll pen to fill it in. No one will know, and trust me, you don't want to be cutting out those tiny little pieces. That's a real pain. So here I am. I'm adding the leftover pieces from my honeycomb die to my card base. I'll be adding 5 pieces because I just think that'll look nice with a little bit of dimension behind them, the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. I think I'm going to do some sort of technique video with this die in the future because it's just beautiful. I love how it looks. It's so pretty. So here we are. I'm going to add 5 of those. Like I said, I like to add odd numbers of embellishments to my cards. It just, it's that thing, it's called the rule of 3. It just looks better. So there I am. I'm going to add my five pieces. And I love how that turned out. I really, really like these tag stamp sets. You can use them on cards. You can make quick tags with them. You can heat emboss them. You can Copic color them, fussy cut them. They're just adorable. And the images are so sweet. So here we are. I'm going to add some Spectrum Noir sparkle pen to the wings because, all bees in my world have glittery wings. And, and little blush cheeks and little freckles because why not, right? But I love how that turned out. So now I'm going to be making my Gable Box treat die. I'm using the Wormy sentiment from the, or Wormy tag from the birthday bug tags. So people always say to me that they're a little intimidated by these Jaded Blossom, or not Jaded Blossom, they're intimidated by these like treat dies. Well, they're so easy. You literally just fold them on the score line. You don't even need to reinforce those folds because they're so great. I use red line tape to stick down or to stick together treats just because it's really permanent and it holds super well. You want to get that red line tape really close to the score line without going over it because it'll give you nice tight corners for your treats. So here I am, I'm adding it. I like to burnish the back of it and then it makes it easier to get that get the paper, release paper off the back. So now I'm lining up my second Gable Box die. And you'll notice that once I add the red line tape to the last tab, you literally can fold it over and it lines up exactly where it's supposed to go, which, makes it really dummy proof in my book. So there we go. And this would be quick to mass produce really. And you know what? You can die cut or you can cut SVGs, forever, like a million times, but you're not going to get the nice stitching line that's like impressed into it. It just looks really finished when you use dies. So here I am, I'm gluing the bottom with Simon Says Craft Tacky Glue, making sure it's all squared up, and I'm going to add some Nuvo Crystal drops for weight and just put it off to the side to dry. So now here I am, I've got the Jaded Blossom bow die, and I like to put my bow die together using glue dots, and of course I couldn't find them when I was making this. I scrambled a bit, but I do eventually find them, and I like to ball them up and put them in the center. So I'll put a little balled up glue dot in the center of that bow, and I'll bring in each side on top of it. So 2 glue dots for the main part of the bow. There we go, bringing each side in. And then a glue dot to attach to the back tails. I always use the Teflon bone folder to sort of curve the paper so it doesn't crack. You get a perfect little bow that way. So there I am, I'm adding it onto the back piece. And how sweet is that? So that's it. So now I have my little stamped bug tag, and I already colored the one balloon in with RV 10, 11, and 13. And I colored my Wormy in with YGO3, 17, and 67. Those will be listed on my blog. I love, like I said, I've already said this, but I love how they make the image separate also, that you can use it on something else or pop it up on that tag. Also, here I am using the smallest balloon die, and that fits perfectly over that little stamped balloon image. I didn't know that, but Michelle pointed it out to me, and how perfect is that? You don't even have to color them if you don't want. You can use patterns. So you got to love how that is. So here I am, I'm going to pop up my little Wormy guy with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, because how cute is that? I cut the little worm out with my brother Scan and Cut with a 0.4-inch border. That's kind of my preferred thing because I hate cutting out stamped images. I love that machine. So here I am, I'm just going to add my little Wormy, and you get all sorts of cute dimension with this. It's just adorable. And it's nice because it's kind of, it has sweet boy images on this, so, it's cute. So here I am. I always color over my highlights, and I'll add them back in using a secure white gel pen. And if you've got any boo-boos on the edges of your coloring, I just cover them up with the white gel pen. No one will ever know. So here I am. I'm going to add that to my Gable box, but I've got to find a little clothespin because that's my preferred method of closing Gable box treat boxes. I've used Velcro in the past. I've tied them. I've actually glued them shut, but then you have to rip them open when you get the treat. So that's kind of a drag. So I tend to use a little clothespin, and I'll stick my bow on with a dimensional foam Stampin' Up! Dimensional. And I shut my gable box with that. And then it's really easy to get your treat out. So here I am, I'm going to add the front layer on that gable box with some Simon Says Stamp craft tacky glue again. Just makes it easier for myself to line it up because, you know, I'm not the greatest at lining things, eyeballing things these days. So here it is. Like, how cute is that? I just love all the dimension. And here's the little card also. And I think I'm missing something. Oh, here I am. I'm going to pull out my Nouveau Crystal drops. These are the English Mustard Nouveau Crystal drops. I'm going to add 5 little drops of that too. Like, how sweet is that? Thank you so much for coming by and watching my card video. I'm still learning, so I don't know if I'm ever going to get the hang of this, but what are you going to do? So I just love these little Nouveau Crystal drops on there. How sweet is that? Adorable. Now you're going to see the mess when I take a picture. See, I told you I'm messy. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. See ya.